Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Path of Exile tutorial. So today we're going to actually discuss a little beginning of league, mid-league type of strategy for making currency, consistent currency. Now with feedback from some of my colleagues, I have decided to make adjustments to this on the fly. So we're going to talk about the very beginning as if your league start, but then we're going to demonstrate shortly after league start because I frankly cannot be bothered to go back and make the edits to my data sheets. So, today we're going to be talking about Harbingers. Now, in the current league, Harbingers have been pretty much entirely untouched. No buffs, no nerfs, no nothing. And for several leagues now, they have been very consistent in profit. The reason why they are consistent in profit is because the rewards that you can get from the Harbinger are rewards that do a purpose that you really can't get in any other way, at least not reliably, and that is the Fracturing Orb. You also can get Chaos Orbs, Exalted Orbs, and Shards, and a bunch of other bubblegum currencies that we will talk about later. But the main moneymaker for it is the Fracturing Orb. Now, what you need in order to run the strategy is any map at all. Unlike other strategies, like for example beasts or essences, the map tier that you run on has no bearing whatsoever on the returns that you get. This is what makes it so good for any stage of a league, but especially after the first week or so when most people have filled their atlas. So to that end, currently the best known outcome of combinations of scarabs are as follows. One Harbinger of Regency. This, combined with the node on your tree, first wave, gives you a 65% chance that a Harbinger will be turned into the Harbinger Prince, Harbinger King, Harbinger Boss, whatever you want to call it. It's had many names over the years. This is a bigger, with more health Harbinger, surrounded by a bunch of smaller Harbingers who don't summon monsters. When you destroy him, he usually drops 3 or 4 times the number of currency shard stacks. This is used to be the best way to get fracturing shards, but more on that in a moment. The next one is the Harbinger Scarab of the Obelisk. This scarab was buffed last patch in 3.26 so that the Harbinger obelisks will actually drop even more loot. I think it's 60% more loot than they previously did, and that's kind of huge to be honest. Now, presently I've only ran a few maps, but in the few maps that I've ran, I have 8 fracturing shards. That is a lot for the small sample size that we have. The maps that you can run on are really kind of up to you. In this particular league, all the T1 maps are kind of terrible for it. Like, you really want small, consistent layout maps. The tier 2 maps, you have Dunes is an okay one if you're at league start, and it's a league start. Toxic Sewer can be okay, but keep in mind the obelisk spawning can bug out in Toxic Sewer and other types of maps if a harb spawns near a wall. Some of the obelisks can be lost in the terrain and not actually spawn. So just keep that in mind. Tropical Island is pretty good. We will actually showcase on this because I'm out of the other ones. For Tier 3, Canyon is one of my all-time favorite maps for Harbingers. It's small, predictable, the boss is at the very end, so you can just zoom through, kill them, pop the boss if you want, and call it a day. Strand, also pretty good. You have a very slim chance of dropping a very powerful divination card that rewards fracturing orbs, but it's consistently a linear layout, so it can be pretty good. That's kind of it for these tiers. Cemetery was one of my favorites. Now it's just kind of okay. Same with Jungle Valley. They're just okay for this. Mesa map is excellent. Again, boss in the center. Very quick, easy to run, predictable layout, or constant layout. Silo, same deal. Silo, of course, double dips with the Atlas Rush destructive play strategy. More on that in another video. And Atoll. The rest of these ones in the low tier maps for this league are okay, but none of them are particularly of interest to me for this. The ones I mentioned, especially ones like Atoll, are also really good for Atlas boss rushing strategies and strategies where you're going to be doing like essence farming. And Harbinger, unlike a lot of other mechanics, really synergizes quite well with mechanics that don't require their scarab slots. So Harbinger only has these three wheels on the Atlas tree so far. Now, if GGG keeps going the way they are, revamping old League strategies and League mechanics, Harbinger will get a pass sometime soon. So that could change. But at least as of time of recording, we have only the three wheels, which means we only have the three notables. The Harbinger boss, currency shards can drop as full orbs, and +1 Harbinger. The small nodes, such as Harbingers, drop an additional stack excuse me, of currency shards. This goes up to 100%. And the your maps have a 5% chance to get an extra Harbinger. This goes up to 30%. These nodes don't really matter. Like, yes, having one extra stack per Harbinger is nice. In a map, you kill 10 Harbingers with the setup that we're running, 11 if you get the lucky proc. Well, okay, great. That means that you're effectively getting 10 extra stacks or maybe one extra Harbinger worth of loot. But is it worth all of these skill points? 4, 10, 14. 14 Atlas skill points is a lot of skill points, especially early in a league. Instead, what I am proposing, again, this is not a day one strategy. It has been kind of brought to my attention that it's a little more difficult to do this day one. But instead, what I propose is you actually don't take any Harbinger nodes. None. Instead, you path like you would normally path to try and get nodes like shaping the skies and shaping the mountains, trying to get these extra map chance nodes. And especially you come up here into the shaping the world. You get these nodes and then you just pick up overloaded circuits. Now, overloaded circuits will grant any map device crafting option. So any of these will get 3 extra modifiers on it. See if I have one on here. See, choose 3 random notable Atlas passive skills. Well, again, Harbinger only has 3 nodes, period. So because it only has the 3 nodes, it will automatically give you all 3 of these notables for free. At the beginning of a league, first, second, maybe third week of a league, like where we are right now, ones like Harbingers have a chance to be replaced by a powerful Harbinger boss is almost the same as the Scarab, right? It's half the power of the Scarab. This Scarab costs up to 20C at the beginning of a league. So if you think about it, that notable is worth half of that. So you could call it 10 Chaos worth of value. Really, really good. Now, all good things have a cost. The overloaded circuits cost is the map crafting device itself costs 2 times as much to use. Now you might be wondering, how do I have 2 crafts remaining? Why do none of these cost anything? Well, that is due to a specific beast, which I will go ahead and show you right now. I believe I have one anyway in my menagerie. Bestiary, the deep, right? Actually, it's easier to just show you this way. Alright, so right here, the Primal Crush Claw. The Primal Crush Claw gives you a bonus to your Atlas when you use it with 3 yellow beasts of any level, by the way. Gain a free use of each map crafting option. Well, the funny thing is this is applied before the doubling of overloaded circuits and bold undertakings. You can, in fact, take both of these nodes if you wanted to. Now, unfortunately, Fortune Favors the Brave is not considered one of these, one of the map crafting options, so the freebie doesn't apply to that, but for overloaded circuits, it does. So, Harbingers normally cost 2, 3, 4, however many chaos they cost to use on your map, gives you 3 extra Harbingers and a chance to drop Harbinger Scarabs. With the Primal Crush Claw, you get a free usage of it, no matter what, so that 5, 10C per map cost that it would have when it's doubled becomes 0. Very handy at the beginning of a league. Again, when you can get access to these is when can your build kill a level 80 monster. That is the important thing. Um, it is. I have been given mixed information on when you can access the Primal Crush Claw Beast. They don't exist in League at the moment below a certain item level, which means below a certain map level, red maps, tier 11. But they're also not terribly dangerous, especially not for builds like totem builds and minion builds, things like that. Things where you can just spend most of your time just running around it because it doesn't do a lot. And then, of course, the yellow beast that you use alongside it can be literally the ones you get in the campaign. So, with that, we have Harbinger on the Atlas device, Regency, Obelisks, 2 regular Harbinger Scarabs. This gives us 6 additional, plus the 3 here for 9, and the one on the Atlas for 10, with a 30% chance of having an 11th Harbinger in our map. Finally, we have the Harbinger Scarab of Warhordes. This doubles all of your loot, all of your currency shards anyway, from Harbingers. Now you might be noticing and wondering, why are we doing this on a white tier map? Harbingers are one of the few types of content in the game that is map agnostic. Modifiers such as increased item quantity, increased item rarity, more currency like from the 16.5 and 17 maps, all of these things, they don't have a noticeable effect on the currency drops. There's some speculation that because the drops are just so small, there's like a percent less modifier on the Harbingers to make it so that they do affect them, but you would have to have like 500% more currency or something absurd for it to actually increase what you get from a Harb, and it's just not worth it. So, because it's not really affected, you can run these on a tier 1 map all league long and get the exact same returns as if you're running them on a tier 16 map. Very, very handy. Now, as was mentioned, you can do a league starter version of this, like a day 1, day 2 starter version of this. You can do it while you're progressing your Atlas. If you're going to do that, you do not buy Regency, you do not buy Warhordes. By all means, use them if you drop them, but don't buy them. They're too expensive at the very beginning. At time of recording, Regencies are going for around 7 Chaos, and the Warhordes are going for something in the neighborhood of 6 to 7 Chaos too. See, Warhordes right now, according to the market, are actually only 4C. They were not this low the last time I was looking at it and buying them. So 4C for Warhordes. Regency are still up at 7C, but at the very first week, very first couple days, they're going to be expensive. Instead, you use regular Harbinger Scarabs. These usually only cost 1C at the very, very beginning of the league, maybe 2C, but you can use 4 of them. So putting 4 of these in, plus the notables on the tree, means that you're going to have 15, potentially 16 Harbingers in your map. Or sorry, 16, potentially 17 Harbingers in your map. And all of those Harbingers will be accompanied by these obelisks. So let's go ahead and go into a map and I will show you exactly how this plays out and why it's so good. We're just going to blink around here until we find the Harbingers because we don't care about anything else in this low tier map. Oh, here's one. So here we see the Harbingers. It spawns a bunch of monsters. You kill the monsters, its health goes down when you kill the monsters that come with it. The obelisks themselves are made of paper and die almost instantly, and just like that, this is what you get. This was one Harbinger boss, as you could tell by him having so many guys, and we got, it looks like, we got a little over half of one annulment orb, and we got 2 chaos and chaos shards. This doesn't sound like a lot, but considering all the currency drops in one big pool pretty much, you can just rapidly click through it, and then there you go. If you saw this on the ground in the first week, 2, even 3 weeks of the league, you'd click on it, right? So in my opinion, it is worth it to have Chaos Shards, at least for the first part of the league, on your filter, just so that you can do Harbingers like this. If you're not doing Harbingers, take them off your filter by all means. Now we're going to go ahead and clear this guy. Here we go again. We got some Ancient Shards, more Chaos Shards we don't really care about. On to the next one. The Obelisks drop some more Ancient and Chaos Shards. The Obelisks are affected by whether it is a normal Harbinger or a Harbinger boss. The exact details of how they are affected are not known to me. Maybe someone else has done thousands and thousands of these and can give you an answer. But my understanding is that just like the Harbingers themselves, the number of shards and the number of stacks of shards goes up when it is a Harbinger boss that has the Obelisk versus a standard Harbinger. So they all synergize together really, really well. Now, as you may have noticed, I'm not really taking any damage. Here's my first Chaos Orb. That is from the shards being converted. If you're a build that's not basically melee like mine is, then you could just sit back and blast these monsters all day long and they take no damage for it. Or minion builds are another good one. My build, though, is not. I'm a ball lightning build this league, at least for now. So I have a little bit more risk involved for running Harbingers. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab all this. And we'll finish out the rest of this map. I really should add a tracker in post so that you guys can see how many Harbingers we did, but food for thought for next time, I guess. Now, some people actually have theorized that you can get better returns per hour by running Warhordes dropping Regency, only having the Regency notable on your tree, and then running just an extra Harbinger. And then, unlike the normal method where you're trying to kill the Harbingers like this, instead, you do it on super short, super small maps. You blitz in, kill only the Harbinger obelisks, and then immediately leave. You don't even clear the map boss, you just leave. You can do this on tier 16s as well with white tier 16 maps. Scoured, that way you can get the map completions for things like the uh, Atlas boss encounters with the Maven, or with the Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch fights, and farm invites, which is pretty profitable, I might add. So there's a few different ways that you can do this and incorporate this into your build and into your particular playstyle for any given league. So there, just like that, we've cleared the map. No big deal, it's pretty quick. And this is our rewards. We gained 4 Orbs of Annulment, 18 Chaos, 1 Ancient Orb, almost 2, half an Exalt, and a bunch of random junk. With the current prices, this being 7C, this being, 3C, so call that 10, 11, 12, 13 Chaos, plus let's just say you had to pay for the Atlas device, this would literally have completely replaced the cost of all of these scarabs, just from picking up those shards. Ancient Orbs, don't know if this will show up for you guys or not, but it looks like it doesn't. Ancient Orbs currently go for around 3C, it looks like. We'll go ahead and pull up there it is. And then Ancient Orbs, oh, I'm sorry, I guess about 6 Chaos, my mistake. So yeah, you could sell all your Ancient Orbs for about 6C, so that is 6 Chaos of profit. Engineering Orbs aren't worth anything. I don't know why I still have them on my filter, but I'm just lazy. Sue me. Annulment Orbs are pretty cheap. They're only 2C, it looks like. So that's another 8C. So that right there is 14 Chaos. The Exalted Shards, apparently they're worth 2C each. I don't know in what world these are 2C each, but uh, okay. They're not. Okay. So I have 10 of them, and that is equal to 3 Chaos. Alright. So not bad, but really what you're after when you're doing these maps are these fracturing shards. Now you're guaranteed when you get any fracturing shards, you're going to get 2 fracturing shards, right? Because of the doubling. So I have 2 fracturing shards. That is 29C. It's okay, but not great. Well, if we get a full orb, which is 20, right? Then it would be this. It'd be 290C. Well, that's better. That's what? 2 Exalt, right? Or 2 Divine. Huh. Showing my age there, talking about Exalts being 2. So it's a little over 2 Divine. Well, the thing is, the actual fracturing orbs fully, they're worth 2.7. So what you want to do if you can is you want to get a full orb and then sell the full orb for the 2.7 divines. Or get 10 full orbs and sell it for 27 divines. So definitely something to keep in mind. As mentioned, the cost to running it is super low. The requirements for your build are also really low, because if you're running it in white tier maps, just by the time you get your Atlas filled, you should be a high enough level that white tier maps don't pose much, if any, challenge to you when they're scoured. So that's all I got for you guys today on Harbingers. A bit of a shorter one, I know, but hopefully you guys got a lot of useful info. I'm going to take these last couple minutes to answer a couple questions that I have gotten before. First and foremost, what content is good to run with Harbinger? Can I run Harbinger as a secondary content? The answer to both of those, or to that second one, is yes. And as to the first one, it really depends. If you are trying to go really, really fast, because Harbingers are not really, really fast, you do have to actually stand there for a little bit, killing all the stuff, and go. Not like strong boxes, not like essences, things like that. Um, if you don't mind that, and you have a build that is able to sit there and do that, and survive the lots of small hits you're going to take, my recommendation would be to actually run them alongside either beasts or essences, or both. Now, beasts and essences together can be extremely dangerous. Do keep that in mind. But running one or the other as your primary can be very, very profitable. Essences remain a consistent early league money-making option for pretty much everyone. We'll just go ahead and take a good example here. It's one of the good ones. We'll just take Loathing. No, Loathing sucks. I hate Loathing. We'll take Spite. We'll take one of the Int Stackers. These are 5C each, right? 5C for a Deafening Essence of Loathing. You're going to probably get at least one of these every map when you're running Essences. Essences, like Harbingers, do benefit from your Scarabs. However, it is worth noting, you can run these Essence ones, specifically the Ascent one. You don't run Stability, you don't run Adaptation, and you don't run Cornucopia, or whatever it's called here, that turns all the rare monsters, naturally occurring rare monsters. You really only care about the regular Essence. So, if you want to, you can run the strategy I said before, where you're running a full another type of content, in this case essences with Essence of Ascent, and then on your Atlas device you only have the overloaded circuits and the map device for Harbinger. It's giving you 3 extra Harbingers for effectively 1 or 2 Atlas skill points that are then going to be a third of the total power of an actual Harbinger strategy. So for extra money, if you just want to imagine a third of the rewards that we had here, or a little bit less than a third, because again, we aren't going to be running Regency, we're not going to be running War Hordes, right? A couple Chaos here, a couple Chaos there, and then every now and then a Fracturing Orb, or a Fracturing Shards. Just little jackpots. And then all your Scarabs can remain Essence Scarab, Essence Scarab, Essence Scarab, Ascent, right? Pretty useful, pretty good. Of course, this does mean that you do have all of your Atlas slots. So let's go ahead and talk about the third thing that comes up a lot. What do I do if it's day 1, day 2, day 3? I don't have my Atlas slots. I don't have my 10-way fight. I don't have my tier 17. Well, the easiest thing to complete is the 10-way fight. You want to make sure when you do your 10-way fight, you're including easy bosses. For example, the Atoll boss. The Atoll boss does not move when you have to kill it. So you get the Atoll boss into your Maven Witness, and now you have a boss that when it spawned will just sit there. It'll throw abilities at you, yes, but they're pretty easy to dodge, and it will just sit there. So bosses like this. Other easy bosses are the like Peruna and whatever version, the other Atoll version boss. I don't remember what map you get that one from. Um, there are quite a few really easy bosses. Don't take ones that do poisons and chaos damage like the Jungle Valley boss. You don't want those. But you also don't want to take the Oak boss fights from like Mesa, because those are just really hard, like HP stacking type bosses that are hard to deal with. The museum boss is not terrible.
It's not necessarily great, but it's kind of middle of the road. And then also make sure you avoid, where is it? Make sure you avoid the goatmen. Don't do the summit one. This guy will jump on you and kill you in one shot. Don't do it. um, but yeah, there are a lot of bosses that are pretty easy. The Kitava versions are pretty easy. Their damage abilities are a little dangerous, but the boss itself again doesn't move. So it's very easy for you to just do stuff like totem builds, minion builds, ranged builds, and just sit back, avoid its abilities in the large arena, and kill it. So that is my recommendation for you for how to go ahead and progress. As you're doing your atlas, as you're working your way through, I am going to put together a video in the future that does talk about atlas progression, how to get your void stones the easiest way, stuff like that. I am a player that does not do my own void stones for the Uber Eater and stuff like that, right? So I just don't. So the Uber Elder one and the Maven one and yeah, Uber Elder and Maven, I don't do them. I will go to TFT, pay 20, 30, 40, whatever chaos, and have somebody else do a map, and then I just get the Void Stone. It's not worth my time to put a build together that can do it. It's just not worth my time. I will do my tutorial Eater and Searing Exarchs like I did this league, because those can drop rewarding drops even on the tutorial versions that I want. But that'll be stuff for a future video. Also, if you did see my previous video on the Tormented Scarab of Possession, these, the price on them has been kind of strange. Um, I'm not really sure why, but earlier in the day, or earlier yesterday, this jumped and then immediately crashed. So something, I don't know, maybe someone was predicting a video to come out by a big streamer to make the price spike and manipulate it. I'm not really sure. But whatever the case may be, they're still basically 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. You get two per chaos. So definitely, definitely not terrible. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today with this one. I hope you have fun. I will try and post at the end of this a little snippet showing my inventory with these remaining 18 maps worth of loot, but it'll just be kind of a cut to that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
And we're back. Alright, so we have ran 20 maps total, had a small break in between, had some stuff to do, but these are the results. Now, your mileage may vary, and I would argue that I actually got rather unlucky in my runs. I had only one other map that had any fracturing shard drops. However, that map had two piles. One dropped a pile of 8, or sorry, no, two dropped 8, and then the other dropped 4 for 12. So that's how we got up to where we're at for fracturing shards. So no fracturing orbs from these set of 20 maps, but 16 shards is not terrible. We got 54 orbs of annulment, 294 chaos, 65 ancient orbs, only a single harbinger orb, which actually dropped as a harbinger orb. I don't collect harbinger shards, so this just snuck in. 76 alchemy orbs, which don't really matter, a few random chaos, 7 exalts, and then a few shards. The rest of the random things, such as these scarabs and the chisels, these were all dropped by the harbingers. I left most things on the ground that were not dropped by the harbingers, or I simply did not include them here. So like if I got a raw exalt from a random map mob, or of course originator maps, you can get quite a few originator maps from all this. Those did not get included in this, but if it dropped from a harbinger, currency shard or otherwise, I left it in the inventory this entire time. I actually had to take my rings out of my inventory because I ran out of space. So all told, let's see what the value is for these maps that we ran real quick, shall we? So let's see, we got orbs of annulment, chaos orbs. I said we had 54 of them, so let's take 54. So that's 40 C worth of those. And we've got 65 ancient orbs, pretty good numbers on the ancient orbs. That is 400, so pretty good there, right? So 440 of those plus 294 chaos, so we're at 730 chaos so far. As I mentioned, we got 7 exalted orbs. We'll go put those in here. So 800, give or take, and then of course the fracturing shards. Now we are going to put the shards in and not assume that it was a full orb. So there you go. That's 20 maps, 1,000 chaos, give or take. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there. We didn't have any jackpots, didn't have any swings to speak of other than these 16 shards. But 1,000 chaos over 20 maps. Our total investment in this. Now I did end up using the Harbinger cost on the Atlas. I got too lazy to go buy beasts and do all that stuff while I was recording. So our total cost for this was somewhere around 60 chaos for the Harbinger on Atlas, plus the beasts that we did end up using and getting. It was another 200 total for all the scarabs, I believe, so about maybe 260 chaos for these 20 maps, which breaks down to about 13C a map. Not bad. Obviously, you could chisel and alch them and do all that stuff if your build can handle it, but we spent 200 and something, and we got 1,000 out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little intro on Harbingers, little update on how they're doing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.